Oh, hi there. This is Calvin. And I wanted to let you know, before I go to Baltimore, over Uncle Jamal's house, some of my friends here in New York wanted to tell you something about, Tulsa, Oklahoma, back in, 1921. Hey, there you go, Mr. Antonio. Tell them about it.
Well, I'm Mr. Antonio, and I wanted to tell you all about a place called Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Well, just outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Anyway, as a guy by the name of O.W. Gurley, he purchased 80 acres of land just north of downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1906. O.W. Gurley and several other businessmen developed a thriving community of African Americans called Greenwood. There were businesses of all types. African Americans came to Greenwood to escape the brutality of the South. They wanted to make homes and they wanted to make homes for themselves, and they also wanted to make an honest living, live in safety. In a matter of 15 years, the Greenwood community became very affluent. The community was made up of African American entrepreneurs and just hardworking people. The community had churches and homes of all types. There were luxury hotels and movie theaters throughout the neighborhoods. Well, there's a luxury hotel called the Stanford and Dreamland Movie Theater. Must have been nice. All of this changed on May 30th, 1921. There was a gentleman by the name of Dick Rowland who worked as a shoe shine guy in downtown Tulsa. And Tulsa had something called Jim Crow laws, which meant African Americans could not use the same public facilities as white people. Dick Rowland had to use the restroom, and the only restroom he could use was on the 4th floor of the Drexel building in downtown Tulsa. Well, he had to get on the elevator. When he did get on the elevator, he bumped into a girl who was white, and her name was Sarah Page. Well, Sarah Page screamed. She said that Dick Rowland had assaulted her, and the police caught Dick Rowland.
Just to be clear, however, the newspaper said that Dick Rowland had assaulted her. The incident happened in the morning, and also to let you know, by the time the afternoon newspaper came out, it said that they arrested an African American guy. Well, news spread throughout Tulsa, and an angry white mob gathered in front of the jailhouse so that they could lynch Dick Rowland for something that, he was alleged to have done, but didn't do at all.
Several men from the town of Greenwood came to the rescue, or wanted to go to the rescue of Dick Rowland. There was an angry white mob outside the jailhouse, and they wanted to hang Dick Rowland, or they wanted to lynch him until he died. Well, that was a bad thing. Well, these African American men from the community of Greenwood walked to the jailhouse where Dick Rowland was, and wanted to volunteer with the sheriff's department to protect Dick Rowland. Well, the sheriff's department refused their help. So, the men from Greenwood had to walk back to Greenwood through the angry white mob. Well, one person in the angry white mob said to one of the men from Greenwood because they brought guns with them so they could protect Dick Rowland. Well, one person said, "Give me your guns." The men from Greenwood said no. A fight broke out, someone got shot, and boy, that's when all the trouble started. The men from Greenwood went back to Greenwood. Well, they had to fight their way back, and just didn't turn out that good. Several people got shot, and some died. It was just not a good thing. Well, they built a barricade because they knew that angry white mob wanted to come after them. As a matter of fact, the angry white mob turned their attention away from Dick Rowland at the jail and wanted to pursue African Americans in the little development of Greenwood. Well, a lot of things happened then that weren't too good. The sheriff of Tulsa at that time, he deputized a group of people from the Ku Klux Klan, and they didn't like African Americans. They didn't like a lot of people that were different, and they decided to go into the town, Greenwood. The angry white mob, well, they attacked the town of Greenwood, the little development of Greenwood, on May 31st, 1921. They were unsuccessful. They fought all night with the men of Greenwood, and they couldn't break through the barricades. Well, they stopped fighting for a while, and what happened was, on June 1st, in the morning, they started to fight again. The angry white mob this time attacked Greenwood from the air with airplanes, and they broke through the barriers. And when they did that, they started to burn homes down, destroy businesses, and they just destroyed everything it took these African Americans to work for. Remember, these African Americans were the sons of slaves, and they walked themselves way up in life. They pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps, and they made a great community. But they lost it all on June 1st, 1921. Bombs were dropped on innocent people that had nothing to do with the conflict. They lost their homes, and they lost their possessions. People were killed, and the angry white mob, well, what they did was they broke into homes and stole what items that people had and then burned their houses down. Well, it's really not a good thing. So, this went on, and several people were captured and put into they were called little camps or places where they had to go into. And the only way they could get out would be if a white person said they were okay. They were called, detainment camps, or a place where they would detain you. Now, the only thing that's left is the AME Church back in, it was actually built in 1919, but the basement there, where several people went in to pray and help and pray to God that they could get through that period. That's what happened with them in Greenwood.
After the destruction of Greenwood, well, some African American businessmen stuck around and wanted to rebuild. Well, they tried to rebuild, but, it was never the same. Most African Americans moved out because they found out that, even though they moved out of the South, they went to Oklahoma and things were pretty much the same. They ran into the same type of brutality, so they weren't able to live there. So they moved out.
Well, the young girl Sarah Page, in September of 1921, after the destruction of Greenwood, she dropped the charges and said, that Dick Rowland did not sexually assault her. So, oh wow, after 300 people died, over 10,000 people became homeless, and the homes and businesses were ruined. That's when she decided, well, I guess he didn't do it after all. Well, and that's just the history of a place called Greenwood, just outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was called Black Wall Street by Booker T. Washington.
Yeah, and also I learned that there are just over a little bit more than 24 businesses in Greenwood now that are owned by African Americans. Nothing compared to where it was back in 1921. Although Black Wall Street was lost in 1921 on June 1st, African American entrepreneurs have continued to grow and continue to strive, and African Americans have done some great things, but also with the help of everybody, and I mean African American help, and there's been some other help too, by other people of other races. African Americans have really grown and continue to grow in our great country. Hey, you know what we can do? We can also become entrepreneurs, just like those brave pioneers back in 1921 and 1906, like O.W. Gurley. And just to let you know, the Black Wall Street might be gone for right now. We can continue the legacy of Black Wall Street through education and becoming entrepreneurs. Have a great day, guys!